Hey everyone, Jamie here from TechnicalCafe.com. Welcome to your 12th Java tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to be talking about how to get user input for our programs, something that will allow them to be more dynamic and also give us more interaction with the user. In order to do this, we're going to be using the scanner class in Java, and we're going to be using some object-oriented principles as well, such as instantiating objects and using methods of those objects. So that's not really what this tutorial is about, so when you see this stuff, if you're confused by it or you don't really understand it because we haven't talked about it, don't worry about it. Just kind of focus on what we're doing and how to go ahead and use what we're doing to get user input. We can talk about the object-oriented stuff in later tutorials. So you'll notice right now that we have a class called user input, and within this class we have the main method, and everything's going to be within this main method. So what we're going to be doing is instantiating an object of the scanner class, essentially using what's in the scanner class to get input into our user input class. Before we do that, though, we got to tell the compiler that we want to use the scanner class, because we can't just go ahead and use it without telling the compiler first. So we're going to import it, and all we need to do is say import java.util.scanner. And notice that the S is capital because it's a class name, and by convention they're usually capital. So now that we've imported that, we've told the compiler that we're going to be using it, and we can go ahead and now use it. And just in case you're curious, java.util is the package that the scanner class is located in. And import statements usually go at the top of a Java file. So now we can go ahead and instantiate or create an object of the scanner class. And in order to do that, it's similar to creating a variable in that we're going to say scanner, which is the object type, and then we're going to give it a name, so we'll say input, for example. And what we're going to do now is set it equal to a new scanner, and we're going to give it a parameter list here. So new scanner means that we're going to be creating a new object of the scanner class, and within this parameter list here, which is called the constructor, we're going to be passing in some parameters, or in this case just one, which is system.in. So what we're basically doing is just telling the compiler that we're creating a new object of scanner class, calling it input, and we're going to be passing this parameter into it, into the constructor method. You can use the scanner class to actually get input from files and things like that as well, but we're just going to use it for the keyboard, getting input from the system. So now that we have the scanner class, let's go ahead and create a prompt. We're going to ask the user, please enter your name. So we'll say system.out.println, please enter your name. And now what we're going to do is create a string variable to store the name that we collect from the scanner class. So we'll say string name equal, no equal sign. And now what we're going to do is actually use the scanner class, a method of the scanner class, the next line method. So we're going to say name equals, and we're going to say input. So we're setting the variable name, the string variable name here, equal to what the user is going to put input into the computer. So we're going to say input dot, and this is how we're going to reference a method of the scanner class, next line. And the next line method of the scanner class, if you're familiar with other languages with functions, a method is just like a function. It basically allows the user to input information, text from the keyboard, into the program, and we're going to store that in the name variable. And in order to basically say that you're using the method, you're just going to put a dot. So input dot next line, the next line method within the scanner class object called input. And what that's going to do is store whatever the user types in the name variable. So let's go ahead and print that to the screen after that. So system.out.println, and we'll say name. And we can go ahead and compile this. And so it says please enter your name. In an Eclipse down here, you just type in your name. So I'll say Jamie. We hit enter, and it's going to print out Jamie. And so you can do whatever you want with this. You can, for example, add a sentence to it. So we can say, this is what was entered. And then we're going to simply concatenate on the name at the end there, compile it and run. Enter your name, Jamie. This is what was entered, Jamie. You can change that, maybe say something like, your name is, compile and run, Jamie. And you can also put the scanner, the input.nextLine in a loop if you want to get multiple variables and use those, and for whatever reason, maybe averaging numbers or collecting multiple names for a random name chooser or something like that. It's entirely up to you what you want to do with it. Let me just show you also how you can go ahead and collect numbers from the scanner class. So let's just delete this stuff here. So we have still our scanner object called input, and we're going to create a variable, let's say int num, and we'll create a prompt system.out.println, please enter a number. and then we're going to use our input variable to store it in the store the user's input into the num variable here. So we'll say input.nextInt, and nextInt is a method of the scanner class. Forgot the equal sign there. And what's going to happen when we do this? Please enter a number. We'll say 10, for example. And that's now stored in num, but we didn't print it out. So let's go ahead and say system.out.println num, and we'll go ahead and print that. Enter a number, 13. And 13 prints out. So this is how you can go about using the scanner class. You can then add 13 to something if you want. It's entirely up to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. If you'd like to learn some more, please specify what you'd like to see, and I'll be glad to try to help you out with that. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.